Hello, and welcome back to another segment of Rank Their Leadership. I am your host, Jai Mays, and I am so excited to be here with you today. Thank you so much for stopping back by my channel, and I pray that you do get some value out of this video. As always, I have to tell you, we do have the 10 Commandments above us because that is the foundation of good leadership. And I always like to go through the qualifications of being a good leader before we get into our segment. So I'm just going to pull this up and let you all know what some of the qualifications are to being a good leader and how you can make sure you are electing or working for, or you are a good leader. We're going to start with accountability, agility, collaboration, communication, confidence, courage, creativity, delegation, empathy, empowerment. Let's see here, honesty, humility, influence, a growth mindset, passion, problem solving, resilience, respect, self-awareness, transparency, trust, and vulnerability. So let's get right into this. I am so excited to actually do a show on someone that I really consider a true leader. Now, don't take my word for it. By the time we finish with the compilation, you tell me if you consider this lady a great leader. I had the pleasure of being able to meet who we're going to bring in, Lieutenant Governor Winsome Sears. I met this lady in 2024, and it was a breath of fresh air. Her leadership, her grace, just the way she carries herself, her aura, her energy, I am here for it. She is a true leader to me, and she represents herself well, just like a Proverbs 30 woman should. Again, don't take my word for it. I want you guys to rate this Lieutenant Governor's, rate her leadership on your own. So let's get into this. Without further ado, I want to introduce you to the first Black woman who is the Lieutenant Governor of Virginia, the Commonwealth state. This is a first, and I am here for it, and I love everything about her. Here we go.
Sears. Do solemnly swear.
Do solemnly swear.
Winsome Sears overcame incredible odds to find herself at the seat of power on January 15th, being sworn in as the new Lieutenant Governor of Virginia and the first Black woman elected to statewide office in the Commonwealth. Born in Jamaica, Sears came to the U.S. as a young girl, following her father with the hope of finding a better life. In a recent sit-down interview with CBN News, she described joining the Marines after the death of her beloved grandmother, looking for discipline and a reason to live. Another turning point came as a young mom, when she began turning to God.
I just never knew how to stay saved, as they say. You know, I kept falling away and coming back.
That all changed one Sunday morning as she cared for her young daughter at home, sensing she should go to church.
And I heard a voice say, she's going to grow up not knowing me, and she's going to blame you. That was the Lord. And I said, no, she's not. And right then and there, I looked for a church, and that's where I was discipled. And that's what started me on the path to me being the person I know now.
She would go on to lead a prison ministry, run a women's shelter, and get her master's degree in organizational leadership at Regent University. While there, she felt God calling her to run for office. While it was viewed as an impossible campaign against a well-funded longtime incumbent in the Virginia House of Delegates, she won.
I believe any time that you obey the Lord, you always win, no matter the outcome.
Sears has lived that belief. After one term as a state lawmaker, she felt called to run for Congress. After losing that race, Sears stepped away for 14 years until again feeling the call, this time as a write-in candidate for the U.S. Senate. She lost again, but didn't let that stop her.
Life comes at you hard, and there's always something in your life that's going to try and trip you up. And you just have to keep going.
And in 2021, the unlikely candidate, with her message of education first, won a historic victory. As a conservative black woman, Sears defeated 2 veteran lawmakers for the nomination and won the general election alongside gubernatorial candidate Glenn Youngkin. Their priority now, making school work for the Commonwealth's kids.
By the time the children in Virginia reach the 8th grade, fully 35% of Asian children cannot do math, 45% of white children, 70% of Latino children, 84% of black children cannot do math by the time they're in the 8th grade. And by the way, 85% of them functionally illiterate.
Sears says the answer is what she calls parental school choice, charter schools, and better pay for teachers. And she supports talking about race and racism in school.
There is a way to teach it such that the white child isn't made to be the oppressor and the black child isn't made to feel as if they're victims.
In Sears' view, America's trajectory is on the rise. And along with the ugly, she wants children to learn the good.
We have a saying in church, and it's, I may not be what I'm supposed to be, but I ain't what I used to be. And that's America. She may not be what she's supposed to be, but she ain't what she used to be. She's not 1963 when my father first came, and I'm proof of that.
Sears also plans to...
I like what she's saying. I might not be what I'm supposed to be, but I ain't what I used to be. And I can speak to that because I have been, reading my Bible, working on leadership within myself, working on accountability within myself. And I can honestly say that I am not the person that I used to be. But why is that? It's because I recognized that I did need to change some things in my life. And not only did I recognize it, but I actually put action with it. And I make it my duty to be the best leader that I can be. I make it my duty to be the best wife and mother that I can be. I make it my duty to be the best volunteer or community servant that I can be. So I love that saying. I might not be who I'm supposed to be, but I'm not who I used to be. Let's get back to Miss Winsome Sears. I just love her. Rate the leadership, okay? Rate it.
Focus on the economy, getting rid of Virginia's gas tax and providing a more welcoming environment for businesses to grow. And she's clear on COVID.
I think at some point, COVID is going to hit us all. And so we need to be prepared.
For Sears, that looks like consulting your doctor, getting the vaccine, and keeping an eye on personal liberty. In these times of polarization and divisiveness, she believes leadership can make the difference.
I think as the leader goes, so goes the country.
To that end, she's focused on bringing people together. And depending on her success and Governor Youngkin's, many believe that 4 years from now, Sears could potentially become not only Virginia's first black female governor, but the first in the history of the United States. Heather Sells, CBN News.
I just want you all to rate this, okay? Now, don't take my word for it. And yes, I might be biased towards Lieutenant Governor Winsome Sears. But as a Black woman and as a woman in leadership, I think she is doing an incredible job. I really do. But again, let's move on and let's really rate Governor Winsome Sears. Now, this next video we're going to watch, she is talking about what happened in Virginia. I think it's Loudoun County, where there was I don't know if we can say this, transgender that allegedly SA'd a young lady in the school. And there was just a big uproar about it. And so the leadership had to come forth. But I really like the way the governor handled this. And I love the vision that she put forth for the school system and to prevent things like this happening again. So let's get into this, and you rate the leadership along with me.
To name an interim superintendent following the ousting of Scott Ziegler. The board will meet for an emergency session in the wake of that grand jury report detailing how it mishandled 2 sexual assaults by the same student. Righting the wrongs in schools was at the forefront of Governor Glenn Youngkin and Lieutenant Governor Winsome Sears' campaigns, and she joins us now. Good morning to you, Lieutenant Governor.
Good morning to you, Ainsley. Good morning to your viewers.
Good morning. Well, you said you're going to hold these schools accountable when you ran. That's why so many moms and dads, the Mama and Papa Bears, voted for you and for the governor. You're going in. There's now this grand jury report, and now the school board's doing something about it. What's your reaction?
It's about time. It is absolutely about time. First of all, I want to thank our governor, Governor Glenn Youngkin, on his first day for issuing the executive order, which started this whole process rolling of investigating what actually happened with the Loudoun County school boards. And then I want to also thank our Attorney General, Jason Miyares, who...
Excuse me, Loudoun County. Loudoun County. Okay, corrected.
Went ahead with the investigation upon that approval. And it took us this long. So you see how long it takes sometimes to get through the mush and the muck and the mire of what is happening to our children in our public schools. And thank God we finally know, because, you know, the other side, some of these Democrats, they branded us. They said that we were against them. We were trying to make political statements on the backs of their children. No. What we now know is that there is an absolute dereliction of duty. The things that happened to our children in these schools should never have happened. The superintendent lied. The school board, which, by the way, is composed of 6 Democrats and 3 Republicans, when they were talking about us making this a political agenda, you can see why.
Yeah, is any of this on any of those board members too, though? Is it just the superintendent, or do we need to look into some of these others that might have known about it?
Absolutely, because they did not go far enough. They put a blind eye to it. You know, it was, well, see nothing, hear nothing, say nothing, do nothing. And that's not why we elect our leaders. We want them to protect our children. And at every step of the way, this could have not happened. The second rape, by the way, could not have happened. But because of their political agendas, they put our children in jeopardy. And my God, as a mother, when I watched that father just before the school board asking, what happened to my child? And they dragged him away like a dog. Well, we're not going to have that. We're not going to put up with it. And we need different, and the only way to get different is to vote differently. And that superintendent was let go without cause. So he got a pay raise, and now he's entitled to all of his benefits.
$323,000 a year and a $12,000 annual vehicle allowance, his health insurance and retirement benefits. But you're right, fired without cause. The grand jury said the school system bears the brunt of the blame. This 14-year-old student was at one school at Stonebridge High School. They just assaulted, he was convicted, assaulted a young lady in the bathroom. Then they just transferred him to another high school called Broad Run. Scott Smith is the dad you were talking about, who was arrested at one of the school board meetings. He was just demanding justice for his daughter. It later came out that we learned it was his daughter that was the victim. Listen to what he said when he learned of the grand jury.
That whole report laid out a bunch of, misdeeds, criminal situations perhaps, and at the end of the report, we get 6 recommendations of things that they should do better next time. I hope that the grand jury's not done with their duty yet, and I hope that this has more teeth in it.
Lieutenant Governor, thank you for fighting. Keep fighting and let us know what happens next.
Absolutely. This is it's not over. The grand jury is still impaneled, so we'll see if anything comes out. But, this is why I'm putting in a bill on school choice. Our parents need to be able to decide where their children should go to school. It is not the right of the government. This is the new Brown versus Board of Education fight. This is the new redlining, and we're not putting up with it any longer. It is time.
Thank you so much for coming on. Have a great day.
Rate the leadership, honey. She is a beast, and I love everything about Governor Sears. She is a true woman of God. She holds true to her passion about the children, and she is an awesome leader to me. But again, don't take my word for it. I want you all to rate the leadership of this wonderful woman. We're not done. I've got one more for you, because she stands up and tells the elected leaders and tells them that they need to be held accountable and to do their jobs when it comes down to a graduation shooting in Virginia. And this is how we are to handle crime, and this is how we are to lead anytime we are governing a body of people. Let's get into this.
Have to figure out why that is. This is not about law-abiding gun owners. This is about gangs. This is about, even if you took all the guns off the street from the law-abiding citizens.
Speak the truth, sister.
The others who mean harm, who mean to kill and mayhem, they're going to have the guns. So we have to figure out what's going on in our communities. We have to find the right problem so that we can come to the right solution. There are gang activities, there are criminal activities that are happening. And when are we going to weed them out? When are we going to start putting the people who commit these crimes in jail? If we don't lock them up, then we release them back into the community so that they can just, keep killing? When do we say enough is enough? When do we say that? How many more people have to die before we say, you're going to jail? We're going to lock you up, and there's not going to be any bail, so that we can have safety in our communities. When does that happen? Who is in charge? Is that the mayor? Is that the chief? Who is that? I mean, let's start naming names.
Who is in charge? She's calling it out. Who is in charge? I know that's right. I know that's right, Governor Sears. Let's go. I'm going to stop interrupting.
Because otherwise, if no one is accountable, and if all we do is come in front of a camera or several cameras and keep talking about, well, this shouldn't happen and that shouldn't happen, and then, well, you're the one in charge. You're the one responsible. So let's cut it and let those who have the accountability finally say, people are going to jail. I'm authorizing my chief to put them in jail. That's what we need. We need leadership, true leadership. Because I tell you what, this is not happening where the movers and shakers of this community live. It should not have happened at a graduation, a life event. They're entering into adulthood. They're looking at a future. And we hope to God that there are no fatalities. But this does have to stop. And we know where it starts. If I had the accountability and the responsibility, this wouldn't keep happening. The people who are elected here, they're in charge. They must make.
Ooh-wee. She is calling them out. Get them, Governor Sears.
That adjustment so that the shootings don't keep happening. Thank you. City. And we have to figure out why.
Let me stop that. Oh my goodness. Now, did you all notice that when she's talking, she's using leadership keywords? This last clip, she used leadership in the beginning, And this last clip, what did she use? Accountability and leadership. And she calls out bad leadership. I respect it. Again, and when I met her, her aura, her energy, her grace doesn't even measure. You can't even put a measurement on this woman's grace. Anyway, again, thank you so much for stopping by my channel. Don't take my word for it. What is your thoughts on Governor Winsome Sears? I like her because she leads with godly principles. And when you put God in the mix and you lead with godly principles, the people rejoice. What does Proverbs say? And this goes for all leaders, not just the king. When the king is righteous, the people rejoice. But when the king is wicked or foolish, the people mourn. Until next time, I'll see you on the next show. And Godspeed, God bless. And hey, work on being a good leader. Take care.